So fast forward to the Western Conference semifinals now, where Phoenix is playing Denver. What I think I underestimated is just how little pressure Phoenix puts on the rim. And this has been a problem since the trade deadline. If you look since the trade deadline, the Suns only averaged 17.6 attempts in the restricted area in those games since the trade deadline. The average number of attempts in the restricted area is 26. So far, the Suns are only averaging about 45 points in the paint this series. They averaged 46 on the season. So again, this is not all that different. They only averaged 45.1 in the restricted area after the trade deadline. So again, this is mid-range team. This is mid-range gunner team. This is everything that people say about the Phoenix Suns is true. But the way to beat Denver is not that. The way to beat Denver is to put pressure on the rim. And I think what I underestimated was that Phoenix is just not going to be willing to do that, or is not quite capable of being able to do that. I thought Devin Booker would be able to do that. He hasn't really done it yet. He's been a little bit more comfortable settling in the mid-range. Tonight, Phoenix took 14 shots in the restricted area. Took 14. Good friend of the program here, Jason Timp. We were texting, about this before I went live, and he brought up to me, Nikola Jokic himself made 14 shots in the paint tonight. Nikola Jokic made 14 shots in the paint. Phoenix took 14 attempts in the restricted area tonight. That is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And go listen to Jason's podcast. Go listen to Hoops Tonight over on the Volume Network. Jason's the best. But you see where this is a problem if Phoenix can't actually take advantage of what Denver's biggest weakness is defensively. And part of this sounds like I'm being a bit too cavalier about what Denver has done so far in the series defensively, and I don't mean to be. I think Denver has been absolutely spectacular defensively in these two games. And we're going to break down some tape, and I'm going to show you why Denver has been so good defensively in this series. I think across the board, I have very little to complain about in terms of how they have executed, and in terms of the way that they've mixed and matched coverages, and in terms of some of their strategic ideals that they've utilized that we'll break down in the tape as I pull it up right now. I think Denver has been absolutely spectacular defensively in the series. I just don't think Phoenix is putting a lot of pressure on Denver right now, and that's the problem. So here, this is just in the second quarter, about the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. You're going to see here Denver playing more at the level of the screen, playing flatter ball screen coverage with Nikola Jokic here. Now, the reason you do this against Kevin Durant is that, as we've seen throughout the series, Kevin Durant has not been awesome as a passer. I think Kevin has improved drastically as a passer throughout the course of his career, but it seems like there's still a little bit missing, and it's probably because he just got to Phoenix a few months ago, and he probably is still adjusting to some of the reads. He's still adjusting to some of the sets. Even basketball geniuses like Kevin Durant, it takes time, it takes continuity for some of this to really work at the highest level that it can. So here you're going to see Nikola Jokic, 2 on the ball. The easy pass here is the short roll pass, right? And he finds it to DeAndre Ayton. But what you're going to notice here is look who's down there. Look at the help defense. Look at the weak side rotation coming over from Jeff Green. Low man comes over, strips the ball from DeAndre Ayton, and they get the ball. I think that what you're going to see more than anything else as we go through tape here with Denver, their help side rotations have been absolutely immaculate in this series. Every single moment, save for maybe the third quarter tonight, where I thought that there were some issues that came up. Denver's rotations have been absolutely on point. This results in a turnover, fast break opportunity. 106 here in the second quarter now. What you're going to see here is this time with Chris Paul, Nikola Jokic is in drop. A lot of the time with Chris Paul, they're playing drop. If it's Devin Booker, they tend to play flatter. If it's Kevin Durant, they tend to play a little bit flatter, although I think they have mixed and matched a little bit more against Durant than Devin Booker. So here what you're going to see is good help defense. They're crowding Chris Paul here in drop, making it so that it's harder for Chris Paul to get to the rim. And this is something Denver deserves credit for. They have made it harder directly out of ball screens for Phoenix to get paint touches. Now, what you're going to see here is the antithesis of this. Paul hits Devin Booker, and this is a long closeout for Jamal Murray. He does okay being able to stay on Devin Booker's hip here when he drives baseline. But this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Devin Booker has to be willing to attack Nikola Jokic here. The worst case scenario, if you're as good as Devin Booker is, and Devin Booker is one of the best players in the NBA, you should hopefully be able to draw a foul there on Denver's best player. The best case scenario is you just finish at the basket, which is something that Nikola Jokic tends to allow you to do. As you'll see here, one thing I kind of noticed previously with the Nuggets is that Nikola Jokic tends to try to draw charges. Look at him. Look at him there. He's getting ready for it. You can see the hands. He has his hands getting ready to cover his nuts just a little bit. And then he realizes that Booker is jump stopping into this shot instead. And he just kind of head fakes toward him. This is an absolute prime example of what I'm talking about. The Suns have to be willing to attack the basket in this series because that's where their advantage could lie defensively on Denver. Denver has a lot of long rangey guys. Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, even Jamal Murray has been quite good in this series defensively, in my opinion. They will cover ground, and that's before we get to the bench guys, which we're going to see a lot of in the next set of clips. Christian Brown has been very good defensively in the series. Bruce Brown has been very good defensively. They have a lot of dudes who can cover a lot of ground defensively. And Nikola Jokic, by the way, in flatter ball screen coverages, tends to be pretty good. It's when you put him in drop that he's really bad. This is a prime example of an opportunity for Phoenix where they have to be able to put pressure on the basket, in my opinion. So here, we're going to go to the next possession here. This is 3:43 left in the third after Phoenix has gone on this little run, taking this 64-58 lead. And this is where Campaign is in. I believe that this is the possession just right after Chris Paul got hurt, maybe. In here, what you're going to see is against the point guards, they're going to play drop again. And just look at how terrific the rotations are again here from Denver. Christian Brown gets over the top of the screen, gets back into the play, gets onto Campaign's hip. Look at this. Aaron Gordon's there waiting. Forces, by getting onto Kevin Durant's hip there, forces Kevin Durant away from the basket and into the help where Christian Brown is. Christian Brown just steps up and takes a charge. And while we are anti-charge on this podcast, I will respect a good defensive play where it happens based on the rules. Christian Brown did a great job here defensively, stepping up and taking that charge. Here we go. 2:48 left in the third. Again, this is going to be Devin Booker. Sort of just like a little like ghost screen, stagger almost. You could make a case where Damian Lee's coming through on the ghost screen, and then we're going to see Bismack come up and set this screen here at the top. Not a great screen. Devin can't get free at all. But the key here is that Kevin Durant is in the weak side. And you should be able to hit this pass, and you should be able to see Kevin Durant be able to get a relatively open shot if Denver at all screws up defensively in terms of its rotations. But look at how on point they are. That is a perfect, pristine X out from Jeff Green going to the corner from the wing and Christian Brown shooting up to the top of the key in order to take care of Damian Lee as a potential ball reversal from Kevin Durant. Absolutely pristine help side defense. This is the second defensive possession in the fourth quarter after Mike Malone clearly got into the Nuggets' ass in between the third and fourth quarters after they gave up those 31 points in the third. 11 minutes, 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. What we're going to see here, Devin's going to get the ball, and they're going to try and empty out the side. And I love what Jamal Murray does here. Jamal Murray is kind of half stunting. He's letting Devin Booker know that he's there the whole time. Devin goes up like he's going to shoot, and he pump fakes. And then look, Aaron Gordon's right there rotationally. He's ready. He's willing. He's going to make life a little bit harder for Devin Booker. Again, in my opinion, I think Devin Booker has to be willing to try and Euro step around Aaron Gordon there and try and finish over Aaron Gordon, who doesn't have the longest arms and is not the world's best rim protector. But instead, he kicks out. And again, look at the pristine X out here. Jeff Green goes from the elbow down to the corner. Christian Braun flies out to the top of the key. And it's just perfect. They block the shot from Cam Payne. Beautiful, beautiful block from Jeff Green. And it's perfect. This is exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about perfect help side defense. Everybody is in a string. Everybody's on a line. Everybody is just ready and willing to do their job. I absolutely love this. So here, Kevin Durant on Christian Braun. You would think this is a mismatch. Jeff Green's kind of shaded over. He's a little bit worried about his man, but he's trying to be there and help. He stunts over Kevin Durant, hits that smart kick out to Cam Payne after the stunt. I think Cam Payne just needs to be willing to shoot that ball personally. He has to be willing to shoot it directly off the catch, I think, right here. But again, just a really, really good help rotation. You're going to see Jamal Murray come up from the corner, and you're going to see Jeff Green X out to the corner where Jamal was. On a string, perfect help side defense, and eventually Cam Payne takes the terrible shot, not in rhythm, ball goes out of bounds. This is all perfect. This is all what you're supposed to do. This is all exactly what Mike Malone wants from his defense here. You're going to see here with Devin Booker, they're playing flatter with Nikola Jokic. And something that Denver did in the fourth quarter, especially in the second half of the fourth quarter, they put Nikola Jokic on Josh Okogie. They basically said, if you're going to involve Nikola Jokic in ball screens, which makes sense because Nikola Jokic can struggle a little bit in that capacity from time to time, we're going to play flat and we're going to make you hit Josh Okogie as the release valve, and we're going to make Josh Okogie beat our help defense, be it via pass or be it via shot. This is essentially what Boston in the first game did not do. They did not, in this, Devin Booker is a very similar player in this scenario to James Harden, probably a little bit worse in ball screens, if we're being honest, than James Harden when he's getting to orchestrate everything and run the show. Here, Denver actually does it. Denver forces the ball out of Devin Booker's hands, or they're going to make him get into a spot where he's isolated again on his man, and we're going to be able to stop him. So this is the 5:30 mark of the fourth quarter, and Devin Booker is just going to have to dance. He's going to try and dance around Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and that's just a contested shot that still not all the way at the basket. If you look, this is a shot outside of the restricted area again. And look, Devin Booker is trying to bully. He's like backing his way in. But this is what the Denver defense has done really, really well throughout the course of this series. And I think they deserve an immense amount of credit for it. So here, dribble handoff into a screen. They're trying to get a switch with Jokic onto Devin Booker, in my opinion here. They don't bite. Here we go again. They're going to have Josh Okogie come up. He's going to set like a little slip screen into the short roll area. They put two on the ball with Jokic, play a little bit more at the level. Jokic just, slowly saunters back and recovers. Again, though, that's just like not a It's not a difficult opportunity for Denver to stay in front of here. So apologies, I hit the wrong button there. So as we're going to see Nikola Jokic. He is going to just be at the level. He's going to be ready. I personally think that Devin Booker has to be a little bit more willing to attack in those circumstances than what he's been so far. But this is just a settle. And they're going to be happy to contest settled 3-point jumpers from Devin Booker. Here we go again. Kevin Durant playing a little bit more flat at the level with Nikola Jokic. Kevin Durant is going to hit that short roll after the blitz in the corner there on the wing. He's going to hit Josh Okogie. Josh Okogie has to be willing to do something here. There's just no excuse. He has to be willing to, in some way, shape, or form, make a quick decision. It can't just be, I'm going to stand here for X number of minutes. I'm going to pump fake because I don't want to take the shot. It needs to be kick out to Damian Lee. It needs to be pump fake, slip pass into DeAndre Ayton. It can't just be, I'm going to hold the ball for 4 seconds and then eventually just restart the offense out. That's not a great opportunity. It's not in rhythm. I know Kevin Durant is a great shooter, but none of this really works. And again, it's in part because of the intelligent adjustment that Mike Malone made and Nikola Jokic made to have him guard Josh Okogie. This is really smart. This is just really, really sharp from Denver, in my opinion. You see this, the 340 mark of the fourth. I loved it. I loved everything that Denver did in this game defensively. I think it was super, super crisp. It was smart. It showed a real plan. It showed a real understanding of the assignment in terms of what Phoenix can and can't do and what they're not doing. And I think that they hold all the cards moving forward in this series. Denver, I think, holds absolutely all the cards. They're up 2-0. But I also think that in reality, Phoenix is in trouble. Phoenix is in trouble schematically. Phoenix is in trouble if they're not going to be willing to play as many high ball screen sets. They're in trouble if they're not going to be willing to get more ball movement. I think Phoenix's ball movement throughout the course of the series has been quite poor. Hasn't been good enough. You look at the Suns tonight. The Suns made 38 shots. They assisted on 23 of them, but 6 of those were from Chris Paul. And while Chris Paul got cooking in the third quarter, I would imagine that a lot of those assists came in the third. So yeah, more ball movement is necessary. And I don't know if they can get that ball movement if Chris Paul's off the court. If Chris Paul is out, we'll see. This is all speculation at this point, it feels like. If Chris Paul is out, they're in real trouble because they're not going to get that ball movement. They're going to be forced into playing more campaign, Josh Okogie, Torrey Craig, Damian Lee minutes. And you have 2 non-entities offensively on the court, not just one the teams can sag off of. Phoenix is in a tough spot without Chris Paul. I'm always willing to give it the benefit of the doubt in terms of the home team winning the first 2 games. I think that we have to in this case, especially in Denver, where teams play at altitude, and that can be a bit of an adjustment. But Denver holds all the cards now moving forward, especially if Chris Paul is at less than 100%. Really, really interesting. Really great work from Denver defensively, but really, really difficult to see a road for Phoenix if Chris Paul is out. The road for Phoenix, in my opinion, is you try and run more ball screen actions. You try and get Devin Booker on the ball playing point and letting him dictate the action. Try and get more rim pressure. Try and back cut Nikola Jokic on some of those actions where he's playing flatter at the level. Try and get guys toward the rim. That is what you need to do if you're Phoenix. That's the best way to derive offense against the Denver Nuggets.